There is a silent struggle happening in the hearts of many believers today. We read verses like, "Do not worry about tomorrow," and we start to feel guilty about our bank accounts. A voice in our head whispers, "If I have a savings account, am I relying on my money instead of God?" This internal conflict is dangerous. It paralyzes us from acting with wisdom. But what if I told you that saving money isn't just a financial strategy? It is actually a spiritual assignment. Consider Proverbs 22:3, which says, "The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty." Notice that the Bible calls the person who sees trouble coming and prepares for it prudent, not faithless. The person who ignores the future is called simple. Faith does not mean being blind to reality. Faith means inviting God into your reality to prepare for it. Today, we are going to look at a man in the Bible who didn't just save money, he saved the world by saving. This is the Joseph Principle, and it's the biblical blueprint for why every Christian needs an emergency fund. Let's go back to Genesis 41. Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt, has a terrifying dream. 7 fat, healthy cows are devoured by 7 skinny, skeletal cows. No one can explain it, so they call for Joseph. God gives Joseph the interpretation. He tells Pharaoh, "God is showing you the future. 7 years of great abundance are coming, but 7 years of devastating famine will follow them." Now, notice this critical point. God gave the warning. But God did not magically make the famine disappear. He showed Joseph the problem because he expected Joseph to build the solution. Joseph's plan was radical. Listen to the specific instruction he gives in Genesis 41:35-36. They should collect all the food of these good years that are coming. This food should be held in reserve for the country, to be used during the 7 years of famine that will come upon Egypt so that the country may not be ruined by the famine. The key phrase there is held in reserve. Joseph understood that consumption today leads to ruin tomorrow. During the good years, he taxed the land. He saved 20% of the harvest and stored it in massive cities. He disciplined the nation to live on less than they made. He prioritized the future over the present. When the famine struck, while the rest of the world was starving, Egypt had bread. Joseph didn't just save himself, he had enough to feed the nations. His preparation became his testimony. So, how does this apply to us in 2025? A modern famine looks like a sudden layoff. It looks like a transmission blowing out on your car. It looks like a medical emergency that insurance refuses to cover. The Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes 11:2, "Give portions to 7, yes to 8, for you do not know what disaster may come upon the land." You cannot predict the future, but you can prepare for it. Furthermore, the Apostle Paul raises the stakes even higher in the New Testament. In 1 Timothy 5:8 he writes, "Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." That is strong language. Paul is linking our financial responsibility directly to our testimony. If we refuse to save and then a crisis hits, and we have to rely on the church or the world to bail us out because we lack discipline, we damage our witness. Your emergency fund is your modern-day Joseph Storehouse. It is not a lack of faith. It is the safety net God gives you the wisdom to build. When you have $0 saved and your car breaks down, you have no choice but to swipe a credit card. You become a slave to the lender because you didn't act like Joseph. Now I hear the objection. But doesn't Jesus warn against the rich fool who built bigger barns? Yes, he does. But we must distinguish between hoarding and saving. The rich fool built barns for himself so he could indulge in laziness. His goal was selfishness. Joseph built barns for others so that life could be preserved. His goal was stewardship. We see this distinction in Proverbs 13:11. Dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. God honors the little by little. Hoarding is about fear and greed. The biblical model of saving is about patience and discipline. If you are saving because you are terrified and don't trust God, that is hoarding. But if you are saving to protect your family and be ready to give in a crisis, that is faith in action. You cannot be generous if you are broke. You cannot help your neighbor pay their rent if you can't even pay your own. So, let's get practical. How do we build our Joseph Storehouse today? Step 1. The Starter Fund. Before you invest or pay off the house, save $1,000. This is your baby emergency fund. It covers the flat tires and the broken appliances so you don't have to use debt. This step requires planning. As Jesus asked in Luke 14:28, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? Sit down, estimate the cost, look at your budget. Jesus validates the act of financial planning. Step 2. The full storehouse. Once you have cleared your consumer debt, aim for 3 to 6 months of your essential household expenses. Not wants, needs, rent, food, utilities, and tithe. Imagine the peace of mind you would have right now if you knew you could lose your job tomorrow and be okay for 6 months. That peace isn't worldly security. That is the peace God wants for His stewards so they can focus on His kingdom, not their survival. Proverbs 21:20 says, "The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down." Don't be the fool who consumes everything today. Be the Joseph who prepares for tomorrow. Start building your storehouse this week, even if it's just $50. God honors the start. Remember Proverbs 13:22. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. That is the ultimate goal, not just surviving the weekend, but building a foundation for generations to come. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button. We are building a community of kingdom stewards. I'll see you in the next video.